After Jade Shadow, Xaku fell off hard. Still fine for Cascade or Corpus Disruption, sure. But Grineer's new HP buffs killed Xaku's solo disruption power. Void damage doesn't scale with health, so instead of melting enemies, Xaku just tickles them. Then Update 40 dropped, and boom! A new Augment turned Xaku from a washed-up relic back into an absolute powerhouse, just like the golden days. Alright, at this point, everyone's way too familiar with Xaku's abilities already, right? Let's skip straight to the good part. Update 40 introduces Xaku's brand new Augment, Untime Rift, which modifies their fourth ability. When you cast it, a rift is created at the point of cast, and it lasts for exactly as long as your ability does. Whenever an enemy gets hit with Void status, the rift spawns a tether linking itself to that enemy, maintaining the status effect and doubling both the Void damage vulnerability and the slow applied by Xaku's fourth ability. That slow caps out at 95%, no matter how much strength you have. But what about the Void damage vulnerability? The Augment description simply says doubles it, but doesn't specify how. Is it 50% times 2? Or is the vulnerability applied twice? Yeah, that's the kind of question that keeps me awake at night. So, let's jump into testing. We've got an AX52 with no mods, and Xaku at 200% strength with Untime Rift equipped. The base Void damage vulnerability from Xaku's 4 is 50%, unaffected by mods. Xata's Whisper adds 52% extra Void damage, and since Void damage deals plus 50% bonus to Overguard, we'll test on an infested runner instead of the usual heavy gunner Eximus. Base hit from Xata's is 40 times 0.52 equals 20.8, rounded up to 21. After casting ability 4, nearby enemies gain plus 50% Void damage vulnerability, making the hit 40 times 0.52 times 1.5 equals 31.2, rounded down to 31. Void status procs. Untime Rift links to the enemy, and here's where you'd think the damage bonus from ability 4 would double cleanly, right? 50% becoming 100%, giving us 41.6. But nope, that's not how it works. Instead, the Void damage vulnerability is applied twice, meaning the formula becomes 40 times 0.52 times 1.5 times 1.5 equals 46.8, rounded up to 47, just like you're seeing on screen. So rather than doubling linearly, Untime Rift effectively increases the damage taken by 2.25 times, not 2 times as the description suggests. This damage vulnerability applies to Xaku's 1, 2, and the Deny form of ability 3 as well. And honestly, that's what I love about Warframe. Behind every ability, there's always some deeply buried math quirk waiting to be discovered. And when you finally figure it out, it gives you that one-of-a-kind rush, a feeling only this game can deliver, at least for me. Now, getting back on track, let's jump straight into the build. Instead of going full-range junkie mode for 16 guns like usual, we're settling at 235% range with 14 guns. Energy's handled by Shards, and we're subsuming Nourish into the first ability. But wait, you might say, isn't the first ability the only way to proc Void status? Well, on paper, yes. But in practice, we're doing the thing that nobody else does. We apply Void procs through our companion using the Astral Bond mod. Damage dealt by Operator or Drifter grants plus 60% damage and plus 30% Void damage to your companion's attacks for 10 seconds. That bonus Void damage acts just like adding Void damage mod directly to your companion's weapon. Combine this with Arc Coil on Diriga and Manifold Bond, and voila! We've got reliable Void procs on enemies without ever touching the first ability. This trick technically works with all robotic companions, but Diriga is the clear MVP here. Other Sentinels rely on Coolant Leak to apply procs, and that thing has a 10-second cooldown, compared to Arc Coil's measly 1 second. As for Hounds, well, they tend to explode faster than your patience in real missions. They can't equip Primed Regen, meaning longer downtime and less uptime, which makes Diriga the far more stable choice for this setup. Alright, here's how the build logic works. First up, Momentous Bond. This one grants your companion's gun a random elemental bonus whenever you kill an Eximus. Astral Bond adds Void damage to the companion's weapon, and Manifold Bond takes every single element your companion weapon currently has, including those from Momentous and Astral Bond, and applies them to Arc Coil. This means Arc Coil can now prime enemies with both void procs and other elements at the same time. And since priming technically counts as dealing damage, Synth Deconstruct comes into play. Enemies that die while primed have a 25% chance to drop a health orb. Those orbs then restore energy to your Warframe through equilibrium. Now, if Diriga gets shot down, primed Regan cuts its respawn time by 35 seconds. On top of that, Restorative Bond reduces the recovery time by another 3 seconds for every health orb picked up, meaning Diriga can basically revive almost instantly. And when it does come back, primed Regan gives 10 seconds of invulnerability, which is more than enough time for Diriga to start priming enemies again, triggering Synth Deconstruct again, dropping more health orbs. You get the picture. A perfectly self-sustaining death and rebirth loop. If somehow you run out of health orbs, Momentous Bond keeps the engine running. Killing just 2 Eximus units reduces recovery time by 36 seconds total. To round it out, Tenacious Bond boosts critical damage by 1.2 times. Vacuum keeps the loot and orbs coming in. Guardian gives you that sweet shield gate safety net. As for the weapon setup, I'm using a prime laser rifle, modded with as many elemental mods as possible. Continuous Misery extends status duration, and Shivering Contagion ties into our Glaxian setup, which we'll get to in a moment. Add a crit chance mod to trigger Tenacious Bond consistently. You can technically use any companion weapon you like. It doesn't have to be the prime laser rifle. But there are 2 must-have conditions. It must support Shivering Contagion, and it needs at least 50% crit chance after mods to activate Tenacious Bond. Now, let's talk about the last piece of this build. Shivering Contagion from the companion weapon actually increases the drop rate of energy orbs from Photon Overcharge if you're running low on energy. Though honestly, after seeing how many health orbs Diriga prints out, which then get converted to energy through equilibrium, you'll realize you already have way more energy than you could ever spend. Everything else in the build is exactly as shown on screen. As for running the setup, it's surprisingly simple. Step 1. Hop out of your Warframe. Shoot an enemy once to trigger Astral Bond. Step 2. Jump back in, cast your 4, and open the Rift. Diriga will then prime enemies with Void status. The Rift will link and slow them, and your damage vulnerability bonus kicks in. At that point, all you have to do is stand back and watch them melt. But now, thanks to Untime Rift, Demolishers can no longer cleanse the debuff, which means Xaku can finally run Disruption against Grineer normally. No viral stacks, no corrosive stacks, no gimmicks.
There's just more pain to burn. They'll never, never, never learn. Till the battle's won, till kingdom come. To give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty.